First thing I see after 3 years away from home, there's a woman I've never met. Heels dug into my family's front porch, screaming that I'm trespassing on my own land. I am the government here. This is my valley and you need to get out. That's her Brenda Weatherby waving around a fistful of fake condemnation notices, reeking of cheap perfume and power. She claims I owe 15 grand in emergency fees for the same log cabin my grandfather built with his bare hands back in 1934. She stands there convinced this is her territory, barking about Pine Ridge Mountain Estates like she invented the place. In that split second, I catch a whiff of cedar from the logs and a metallic taste in my mouth, anticipation mixed with something close to rage. Brenda looks so sure of herself, so ready to drop the hammer. She has absolutely no idea who she's dealing with. So I hit her with one sentence. Her face drains whiter than the snow up on Pikes Peak. Where are you watching from? It gets wild from here. Might as well rewind, because this story, it doesn't just explode, it unravels. To appreciate just how big Brenda Weatherby's con was and how beautifully it all fell apart, you've got to know how it started. My name's Jake Thornfield. I'm 34, Staff Sergeant, Colorado born and raised. My grandfather Ezra's homestead isn't just a piece of land, it's a living history book. The old man was Depression-era tough, the kind who trusted no bank, no government, only his own hands and an ironclad filing cabinet. He built everything from scratch log walls thick enough to stop a bear, a stone chimney, a porch you could spend a lifetime on. Most important, he wrote everything down. Land surveys, deeds, every inch, every claim, every right to the creek or the old mining trail. That place has roots, and so do I. While I was off serving overseas, I trusted Hank Morrison, Vietnam vet and local legend, to watch over the cabin. You'd know Hank by the smell of pipe tobacco and the engine grease under his nails. Good man. Never expected any trouble. Sure as hell didn't expect a full-on suburban war. Because 2 years before I got home, Brenda Weatherby and her permanently startled husband Lloyd moved in from Denver. No kids, too much time, and a hunger for control that could chew through steel. Brenda's genius move. She gets herself elected president of the Pine Ridge Mountain Estates, HOA, a thing that never legally existed in the first place. She convinces newcomers they need community management, and suddenly she's strutting around with a clipboard and a measuring tape, acting like the sheriff of some Wild West she made up in her head. Word is, Brenda marched up to my cabin 6 months after I deployed, snapping photos, scribbling in her leather portfolio, making a scene. She left behind official-looking violation notices, fire hazards, structural risks, fancy seals, and signatures from 3 elderly neighbors who probably just wanted her to go away. She charged me monthly for unauthorized modifications, as if I'd updated a single thing since FDR was in office, and late fees, all while I was in another country. But the paper trail went deeper. Brenda forged inspection reports with county stamps, drafted letters from agencies that didn't exist, even invented inspection certificates. She built a whole fake government and crowned herself queen. The part that still sticks in my craw is realizing I wasn't her first target. She'd already gone after 2 other military families, one Navy couple bullied into selling an Army family that just up and left, all because they were deployed and couldn't fight back. That's the kind of thing that makes your blood run cold. Only Brenda didn't count on one thing. My grandfather Ezra didn't just homestead that land. He made damn sure no one could ever take it. Every violation she wrote up, every threat, every standard she recited, none of it touched the roots he put down. Brenda thought she was going up against a guy who'd cave. She didn't realize she'd just declared war on the wrong family. First real showdown, 2 weeks after I'm back. It's early morning. I'm on the porch with coffee air so cold it'll slap you awake. I hear engines, 3 vehicles, a convoy, even a county truck, like something out of a government raid. Brenda in a suit, Gary Hoffman with his clipboard, and some nervous guy who clearly wants to be anywhere else. She's pointing out violations like she's in front of a grand jury. Gary, meanwhile, is sweating bullets, mumbling, "Well, for a 1934 structure." Brenda cuts him off every time. Then, as Gary squats to check the foundation, a receipt falls out of his pocket. $500 from Brenda. He's not county. He's her paid puppet. I grab the receipt, say nothing, let the scene play out. Gary hands me a condemnation notice. Brenda's glowing, already talking emergency demolition. That night I dig for answers. Turns out Gary isn't licensed for structural inspections, can't condemn a doghouse. I document everything, file complaints. In Colorado, bribery gets you prison time. County reverses the condemnation. Gary's license suspended. Brenda's scam unravels fast. Does she back down? Not a chance. She files a police report saying I threatened her. Keeps circling my cabin, snapping photos, plotting. And just when you think that'd be enough? Nope. Brenda returns with reinforcements. 3 old neighbors and a bargain basement lawyer, Ricky Dalton, who looks like he gets paid in bus tokens. She starts her performance about community safety, but the neighbors are confused, and Ricky's legal documents all wrong. Wrong boundaries, wrong county. His bar number isn't even his. I call him out, he goes ghost white. Scurries off the porch. Brenda's empire crumbling. But here's the twist. Turns out none of the neighbors ever joined her HOA. Brenda tricked them into signing what they thought was a safety petition, then used their signatures as fake authority. I set the record straight. Mrs. Henderson cries, apologizes, says she never meant to hurt anyone. Ricky gets reported. Brenda keeps digging herself deeper. And the escalation, unbelievable. Brenda locks my gate with her own padlock post signs by order of Pine Ridge HOA. Has Lloyd sneak onto my property, cutting fences in the dead of night while she directs him by walkie-talkie. They're fabricating an adverse possession claim, thinking they can steal my land by squatting. I catch it all on trail cameras. Sheriff Tom Rodriguez doesn't need convincing Brenda's facing criminal charges, but she starts calling state police spins tales about veteran bias rallies, a fake crisis about extremism. At this point, Brenda's off the rails. But if she thinks she's seen stubborn, she hasn't met Ezra's filing cabinets. I dig deep, find the original 1934 homestead deed, mineral rights to 2,400 acres, all those houses Brenda's so-called kingdom. They're sitting on my family's minerals and nobody ever bought those rights. Not one. There's geological surveys, $4.2 million in natural gas under their feet. I take it to Sarah Palmer, the sharpest real estate attorney in Denver. Together, we plan Brenda's downfall, file for quiet title, sue for damages, and bring the feds in for military family fraud. We line up neighbors, victims, the local news. Game on. But Brenda's not done. She trashes my truck, poisons my spring with chemicals, tries to bribe the sheriff, files more false reports. Mountain Vista Energy, the gas company her husband works for, sends a corporate thug, Buck Morrison, to make me an offer. 50 grand to disappear or accidents might happen. He doesn't realize I'm recording everything. FB. I gets the tapes. Brenda, cornered, tries to burn down my cabin. Security cameras catch her pouring gasoline around the foundation at 3 a.m. The evidence overwhelming. The town hall meeting turns into a public spectacle. Brenda calls for my arrest, claims I'm a terrorist, parades fake documents. I step up, lay out the original deed survey maps, mineral rights, and play audio of Buck's threats, video of Lloyd's midnight trespass, stacks of Brenda's forgeries. You could feel the room's temperature drop. Sheriff Rodriguez arrests Brenda for fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder. FBI swoops in for Buck and the Mountain Vista execs. Brenda screams it's all a conspiracy, but nobody's listening. She's led away in cuffs right in front of the community she tried to rule. 6 months later, Brenda's doing time in federal prison. Mountain Vista's bankrupt. Pine Ridge gets a real association led by neighbors who care. We use the lawsuit settlement to protect the Valley Fund scholarships for military kids, build a solar-powered community center run by Hank, who finally gets steady work. Sarah and I get married beside the spring Brenda tried to poison. The land stays in the family, protected from development. So what's the lesson? Power doesn't come from shouting or waving papers. It comes from knowing your roots, having the proof, and standing your ground when it matters. Brenda lost because she underestimated a family who knew every inch of their land and every line of the law. Most folks never check the records, never question the loudest voice. But there's a Brenda waiting in every town, counting on people to roll over. Take an hour this week, look up your property rights, read the fine print. Don't wait until someone like Brenda is banging on your door. And while you're here, tell me what's the craziest HOA rule you've ever seen. Drop it in the comments. If you believe in standing up to bullies or just love a little justice, hit that subscribe button. Real authority doesn't need to shout, it just shows up with the right paperwork.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.